Good afternoon, Jugger fans, and welcome to the Mile High Open 2021. I'm your host, Sebastian Seabass Wolf, and I cannot wait to get started in today's Jugger Tournament. We are going to continue with seeding. Each team will be playing each other once. Outcomes determine placement for bracket play, and bracket play will be a double elimination. Once again, we have the Lights, Reapers, Oklahomies, Desert Wolves, Ursae Majoris, Drengr, Spartans, and Rigor Tortoise all lining up to play during the seeding event. As we launch into today's action, I would like to take some time to go over the quick rules of Jugger if you have never played before. Jugger is a competitive sport played between two teams. 4 enforcers armed with Pomfin and able to defend themselves, and 1 quick who has nothing and is the only player able to grab the ball in the center, known as the skull. After a countdown, the players enter the field and face off against each other in the center. The enforcers spar with their Pomfin while the quick fights for control of the skull. If a player is struck by a Pomfin, they drop for a set amount of time, temporarily taken out of the action. Using a variety of Pomfin from the spear-like slash or short and shield to the intimidating chain, an 8-foot ball on a rope, enforcers must work as a team to deal with their opponents while creating an opening for their quick to grab the skull. Once the quick sees an opening, they rush for the skull and then for the goal, placing the skull inside it and scoring a point for their team. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There are the quick rules of Jugger. Now let's get into our first game of the day, Rigor Tortoise versus the Phoenix Lights. Both of these teams are traveling from out of state, and both have put together very good showings, but Phoenix Lights in particular very dominant in part number 1, while Rigor Tortoise failed to launch on the couple of games that they played. We're going to see who can take the top on this one as we go ahead and get rolling into game number 1. Both teams here on our main field. Now, a lot of the games are being played on 2 fields today during seeding. After all, every single team is playing 7 games over the course of day number 1. We only have access to field number 1 when it comes to footage, so some games from both teams have been going on either side of the field without us here. In this case, we are just about ready to see both teams head off during our first round of gameplay. Phoenix Lights are going to start on your right-hand side, whereas Rigor Tortoise is going to begin on your left. We are playing set play. First to 3 points will win a set, and the best of 3 sets will win the overall game, with the possibility of a Golden Skull overtime point if there is a tie heading into the very final set. Looks like we are getting our ready countdown, and the players will head off onto the field. You can actually see Hawk there on the right-hand side using dual shorts as a Pomfin. It is rarely utilized as a Pomfin here on the field, but can be used to pin 2 different fighters at the exact same time. It is the only Pomfin in the current rulebook that is allowed to do so, giving it a decent advantage if you take away the disadvantage of the fact that it is the shortest reach with the least offensive and defensive powder. Rigor Tortoise moving in pretty decent. They're going to have to go and ice the skull, almost boxed out well enough to score a point as they kind of get into formation, protecting both the skull and their quick. We can see Hawk moving in once again, dueling the sword and board there on Rigor Tortoise. Chain has come back up for the Lights as well. We'll see if that will be effective enough to get them the skull, and they do at least get the skull, but they'll be boxed out a second time. Chain is able to get that reload. That was really quite lucky on their part, and there it is though. Rigor Tortoise will score the first point of the match against Phoenix Lights. Not bad gameplay at all from Rigor Tortoise, though we were unable to see what happened on the central camera view there. They were able to get their sword and boards into position nicely, box out Phoenix Lights, and eventually use that advantage to take the play and get themselves point number 1. Phoenix Lights went undefeated so far in part number 1, so they are a tough team to beat in part 2 here. Countdown coming back out, and we will see the players rush into the field here in just a moment. We'll see if Rigor Tortoise can continue to put on the pressure. I've noticed so far in all of their games, they've played very well off of their first point, constantly having a very good formation. Their starting lineup is really well done. Chains both tangled up there. Going to take some time to undo that, but it doesn't seem to matter. Everyone on Rigor Tortoise's side is down, and we will get point number 1 for Phoenix Lights. On that time, it was really more just of a collapse on the right-hand side there. Not able to keep anything together. Chains not able to impact anything on Rigor Tortoise. And it'll be a nice, easy point, tying things up at 1-1. Heading into point number 3 overall, 1-1, Rigor Tortoise versus Phoenix Lights right now, and you can see the go call immediately as teams both rush onto the field. Hawk is going to get the skull scoop there, flicks back over, and again, the right-hand side pops open. Chain still up on the Phoenix Lights side. They're going to try and quick wrestle in. Will they be able to do so? Chain will eventually take down Blastoise on the Rigor Tortoise, but it is time for the Chain to get into position. Not going to be good enough. And Phoenix Lights will put point number 2 on the board. They are now at set point for the first set. That was actually a really good defensive stop by Rigor Tortoise. Gave them time to get players back on the field and in position. It just wasn't quite enough for them to capitalize and get the stop. Here we go. Set point again for the Phoenix Lights. One more here, and they will put the first set to bed. Both teams getting ready. We've got Phoenix Lights perspective here on camera as we get ready. You can see the countdown from the ref there as we move in. Both teams positioning themselves by the skull. Nice little chain. Excellent work there, but the chain is wrapped around that Pomfin. The ball is dead. They're unable to respond, and that means they cannot capitalize further on the play. And once again, the right-hand side collapses just enough. Will they be able to defend here on the goal? Sword and Board will fight it out, but it will not quite be enough as they go down. And that'll be the set for Phoenix Lights. Unfortunate play there for Rigor Tortoise. They had a great opportunity to capitalize on their own right-hand side with the chain, but that wrap around the Pomfin was too secure. They were unable to move it forward, and just like that, Phoenix Lights are moving to their game set. Really good play from them after that first point. They've been able to capitalize on every little mistake that Tortoise is making and utilize it to the best of their ability. Both teams giving ready calls now. A nice North American tradition here. We all have our own custom call-outs for each team. Unable to hear them today with the lack of audio on the field, but they are very fun. We'll try and showcase some of those during the bracket play rounds. In any case, good collapse there. They were able to take the quick down on Rigor Tortoise's side, but once again, it doesn't matter all that much as Chain and Q-Tip there are able to stay up, stay remaining in the game, and save the play. And once again, Phoenix Lights are up an easy point. Unfortunately, Tortoise, for having their own turtley name, have not been able to turtle up well and stop from going down. Their front line is constantly collapsing early, and it's leading to the Phoenix Lights being able to sneak in and grab points off the back end of a significant amount of plays. It's going to be up to Tortoise here to really put in a good stop if they want to save this game. Phoenix Lights moving in on the left-hand side. Again, you switch sides every single set. Once again, the scoop goes over to Phoenix Lights. Good chain play again from the Lights, and their right-hand side is just unstoppable. Hawk finally goes down. Blastoise goes for the quick wrestle, but it's not going to be good enough, and we are at match point for Phoenix Lights. Man, their ability to break through on that right-hand side is fantastic. Really playing aggressive, forcing the other team to make a decision. Good jugger play all around, and right now, Phoenix Lights are making the right ones every single time. This is a match point for Phoenix Lights. We're going to see if Rigor Tortoise can put a stop to them right here, put a point back on the board, and get the momentum swinging in the other direction. Both teams meet center, fight over the skull. Neither team will get it, but the chain is still up on the right-hand side. Doesn't matter. Chain is up on the left-hand side as well. Both of them are going to collapse every single line, and we've basically got a neutral point at this time. Excellent roll away there from Rigor Tortoise. Tries to keep the play alive, goes back in, but will still go down. Now we do have a bit of an advantage here on the side of Phoenix Lights. Again, another collapse from Rigor Tortoise. Quick will go down, and they are in possession of the skull with a member still up and standing. Again, another excellent hit from Attilis there, but once again, Phoenix Lights are going to do their best, coming up easy with the chain, and they will secure the match in their favor. That was a very excellent final stand from Rigor Tortoise. Good play by Attilis to get a double, but it wasn't quite good enough, and Phoenix Lights, once again, undefeated still in this tournament, will take the win for themselves. Phoenix Lights really earning that victory card on that one. Truly dominant play throughout most of the game. And I gotta say, MVP status to the right-hand side of Phoenix Lights. They constantly played aggressively, forcing the opponent into positions they did not want to be in. You can see them collapsing on the right-hand side once again during that point, and they're able to guide their quick in efficiently and effectively over and over and over again. Once again, quick coming in there on the right-hand side. It is a powerhouse for the Phoenix Phoenix Lights, and something that definitely needs to be watched. Though Tortoise put up a good fight near the end there, it was not quite enough to stop Phoenix Lights from taking yet another game, and the first game of our series today. Congratulations to them. Good news for all of us Jugger fans, though, that is only the first game of today. Ursae Majoris versus the Oklahomies are finally getting started here, and this is very exciting. We haven't gotten a chance to feature the Oklahomies in our first game. They were the only of the 8 teams not featured in round number 1, so they are hitting the main field to take on Ursae Majoris today. Ursae Majoris, a team out of California, bringing very, very strong members to the tournament. Oklahomies, of course, out of Oklahoma, also here to give their beautiful flair to the game. See the ready call there by the central ref, meaning play is just about to begin. Ignore those incorrect set markers there. Those will get adjusted, I'm sure, here in just a moment. Ursae Majoris on the left-hand side, Oklahomies on the right as we get the ready call in and plays begin. Immediately, Ursae Majoris is going to get that flick a little bit on the short side, but it doesn't matter. They still get a good job securing the right-hand side and moving straight up the middle. A collapse on the central side. We are going to see a flag go down. We'll see if it is play affecting. We're not sure yet. Oklahomies are going to do their best to stop the play, but it's not quite going to be enough. Ursae Majoris is going to put the first one away. A lot of times you'll see flags dropped onto the field by referees. Oftentimes those flags will be retracted during the course of play. Jugger relies heavily on an honor system, and if plays are resolved on the field and they don't affect the play in any way, shape, or form, then usually side goes to them, and they just continue to play the game as is. In this case, the point will stand. Ursae Majoris will grab themselves point number 1 in the match so far, and here they come out again. Chain jump, excellent work by Majoris, and again, they are absolutely collapsing on this side. Quick wrestle from the Oklahomies. Oh, so close trying to stop it. Struck on the foot there. Didn't quite see that or feel that contact, I guess. Doesn't quite go down right away. But nonetheless, once again, Ursae Majoris coming in with the insane quick plays, manages to get a diving score and brings themselves up 2-0, an early set point for Ursae Majoris. I just absolutely love watching this team play. They are extremely intense, fun-loving, and boy do they go for every single goal. We have seen the best quick play out of Ursae Majoris so far this season. Once again, a chain jump. Don't think it was quite as successful that time, but it doesn't matter. They still get the chain down. This time around, skull in neutral possession. Quick is down for Ursae Majoris, but everyone goes quickly in to get pins onto the Oklahomies. They have very little option left, and as far as quick defense goes, Chain gonna move in, gets the Enforcer down here to cover the quick as well. Everyone else is pinned, zoned off, and that'll be an easy set for Ursae Majoris. It's exactly those kinds of plays that we like to see out of Ursae Majoris. They did a great job winning the initial fight, but most importantly, they did a great job getting pins on everyone they needed to as they were coming up. You want to wait the majority of those 4 to 5 stones right before someone's about to come up before you get the pin so that you can maximize your time as a combatant on the field. They did precisely that, and it secured them the point despite the fact that their quick went down early. Ready calls once again. Ursae Majoris now up 1-0 in sets. We can see the score has now reset. That means if Ursae scores 3 more points, they will win this game, also having a very fantastic tournament so far. Oklahomies putting up a strong front, but unable to get a point on the board so far. Hopefully they will be able to put a stop to Ursae Majoris' momentum. Switch sides here because of the set change, so now you'll see Oklahomies coming in on the left-hand side. Excellent work by Ursae Majoris, and I believe that might have been a triple, possibly even a quad right there from Ursae Majoris, and they are going to secure themselves the point. I'll have to check back later, but really wonderful work again. Looks like that was by number 16 on Ursae Majoris. Beautiful work on the long there, getting a whole bunch of kills along the backside on the Oklahomies, and we're going to see an early point number 1 here. We can see Ursae Majoris walking the skull on back, resetting that here in the middle. The gap between plays is pretty short, and we're going to stick with it for this one. So far, Ursae has put together one of the best showings of the tournament so far. Oklahomies, don't get me wrong, are doing fantastic work as well, but their line is continuously getting taken down by Ursae Majoris. I would love to see the Oklahomies really put some effort into trying to back up that line, as opposed to fully collapsing every time a teammate goes down. It's one of the big problems problems you'll see if someone on the end side gets collapsed in on, and all of a sudden the center line falls down immediately to those overwhelming majority fights, as opposed to backing off and waiting the stones for your teammates to get back up. 1-0 is the score. A good chain break on the side of Ursae Majoris as they move in double teaming. Chain is still up on the Oklahomies, and they have skull possession on the right-hand side. They do not have any coverage, though, and are forced to ice the skull away. Ursae Majoris has got themselves the skull, and I think they might just outrun it here. They're going to sprint it all the way into the goal, and there it is. Incredible speed on the side of Ursae, and they secure point number 2. They're going to head straight in to match point on that one. Really, it's very rare. I mean, if you've got a really good quick, go for it, right? That is the general idea. Sees the pocket, maneuvers it around the field, and scores an amazing point for Ursae. Just like that, we are in match point. Oklahomies going to do their best to stop it right here and now. Otherwise, it will be a full blowout against the Oklahomies. There is the ready call, and off they go. Teammates all positioning onto the center of the field. Ooh, easy skull possession onto Ursae. Oklahomies take the fight very slow, and it's not going to be a good idea. The entire line of Oklahomies has completely collapsed. Ursae Majoris pulls in. There's one last defender on the Oklahomies, and just like that, the match goes over to Ursae. An incredible 6-0 game, and they absolutely shut down the Oklahomies. Victory to Ursae Majoris on that one. Congratulations to them. Seeing that little title card come up fairly frequently so far in these matches, they handled themselves very wonderfully. As you can see, really good desperation plays from Ursae Majoris, always willing to fight everything that they could for their points. We see like that perfect execution, everyone waiting for backup, doing their best to position and manipulate the field. We can see here once again later in the game, doing a wonderful job of just positioning around enforcers to get their quick exactly where they need to be, which is wonderful tactical play on their end. We can see here a final desperation attempt, not good enough for the Oklahomies, and Ursae Majoris takes the point. Heading into game number 3, we've got ourselves the Desert Wolves taking on the Littleton Drengr. This time an Arizona versus Colorado match. Desert Wolves showed themselves to be incredibly capable fighters during the course of the first round, but they did find themselves falling to Phoenix Lights. We'll see if the Drengr can get themselves a win. So far unable to do so in the tournament on day 1 as we move in to play number 1. Desert Wolves on the left-hand side, Drengr on the right-hand side, and we will see the ready calls here from the refs, and soon the match will begin. Most definitely a match of experience versus enthusiasm. Desert Wolves have been performing well at many tournaments across the entire United States for years. Drengr brand new to the scene. Many of them, this is their first time competing in a tournament at all, and we're going to see a lot of that inexperience come into effect. Looks like we actually have a broken board there on the field. Drengr's going to run over and toss that to the side very quick, but a full collapse of Drengr's line, and Desert Wolves are going to take point number 1 on the series very early on. Unfortunate collapse of the center line there. That is something that we've been seeing very frequently, especially with teams with less tournament experience. No one is falling back and doing their best to adjust to the play. If they lose there on the front line, then the skull is scored within 5 stones, the play is over, and there is 0 chance for recovery. Countdown coming in, both teams rushing out onto the field, Desert Wolves and Drengr. Here we go. Good line. It looks like Desert Wolves will get the skull immediately. Opening in the side actually left open for the Drengr to capitalize on, but it's not gonna matter, and there it is, point number 2 for the Desert Wolves. A good effort on the side of the Drengr, but once again we see that full line come into collapse. A little bit of an interesting play there, though. The Desert Wolves kind of totally ignored the flanker, cut in towards the center, and Drengr were unable to respond to that. They actually kind of led a Q-tip fighter directly into their backline, and it seemed to work well with the aggressive playstyle available to them. It is now set point of the first set, Desert Wolves versus the Drengr. So far, these plays have happened in very fast fashion. Drengr not able to put up all that much of a fight yet. We'll see if they can stop them here, put the momentum back in their favor, and here we go. Good early skull possession for the Drengr. Chain, though, is going to knock one down on the outside. Again coming in, and a right-hand side collapse by the Desert Wolves will force an ice for the Drengr. Excellent work getting it to the back of the field, but Desert Wolves are going to pick up that skull, and they're going to move in. We'll see if there's anyone left on the field. Tons of pins on every side, and it'll be a free walk in. And just like that, we've got a little bit of playful quick wrestling there on the side of the goal. Just like that, it will be set number 1 for the Desert Wolves, 3-0. Nice and easy for them. See a few familiar faces or jerseys here on the field as you continue to watch. Jugger has a long and historic tradition of allowing teams to play or mercenary for each other over the course of the tournament. So occasionally you'll see teams helping to fill up the roster for teams that are a little short on numbers here and there. In particular, we have Chuk there from the Arvada Spartans playing for the Desert Wolves today. All right, teams have switched sides. Interesting slide in from the Quick, not good enough, but 34 on the Desert Wolves is going to knock down the entire right-hand side of the Drengr. Looks like things are free and available. And there we go. We're going to see Quick coming in. Oh, almost attempted a quick wrestle there, but good work by the Desert Wolves chain to get that work done. And the first point goes over to the Desert Wolves. A bit better play this time around from the Drengr, although I would attribute that to a massive overextension on the side of the Desert Wolves Quick. It is not necessarily the best tactic there to move in directly in front of your own enforcers. Very little defensive posturing to do there with that slide. Does still net them the point, though, in the long run. And here we go. The 3-2-1 Jugger call is out there. This time around, Chuk able to get to that skull very quickly and pull back while remaining standing. Once again, the line completely collapsing. Everyone taken down. A bit of a scuffle over the mound, but it's not going to matter. Desert Wolves put away point number 2. That tactic right there, known as honey potting, if any sort of hand or object is inside of the maul, then the skull cannot be scored uncontested. So Quicks are allowed to sit there in order to try and stop a skull from being scored. Not quite good enough, though, as they are shoved away from the mound and the goal is scored nonetheless. 2-0, this will be match point for the Desert Wolves. All they need is one more to put this game to bed and put them in significantly better positioning for seeding. Trying to ice the skull with a bit of a flick there is the Desert Wolves, but not quite good enough. This time around, we actually see the Drengr battling for possession of the skull. Forced to ice it once again. This time around, though, their Dragon is going to get a little bit of positioning on the skull, takes the Quick down once again, and we still have Drengr in fighting position as they continue to battle around the skull. Both teams in neutral possession so far. Looks like, unfortunately, the Drengr are going to go down here as they try to maintain pins. They are going to get flanked on one side. Moving up, skull possession will be taken, but they're going to be forced back down again as the Drengr move over to the right-hand side of the field to try to contest in a hot 2v2 situation. Both of them fighting back and forth. Looks like Desert Wolves are going to go down in a double. It'll be 1v1 here along the skull. Excellent work there, grabbing once again the Quick and taking him down. Moving over, they're going to get a pin, forcing a 2v1 scenario. Unfortunately, going to be zoned out and doubled. Just like that, both players are going to go down. The Quick will get into possession of the skull, and what was so close to a good point will bring the game away to the Desert Wolves as the skull is dunked into place and they take themselves the victory over the Drengr. Beautiful work by the Desert Wolves that entire game to earn themselves the shutdown and, of course, the victory card in their favor. Desert Wolves are certainly looking like one of the strongest teams of the year thus far, and really, their play all around the field shows. They don't necessarily have a good spot. They have a whole line of incredible players. You can see that almost every single time on the field, Drengr are unable to contest even a single member left standing in most situations here. Very effective use of pin control, line control, and everything that they need in order to secure points for themselves. And though the Drengr were able to put up a really valiant effort on that last point, it was not good enough as the superior fight of the Wolves takes the win this time around. Now for our very last of the game, Ursae Majoris and Drengr are both going to play essentially back-to-back games here as we move into our final game. Ursae Majoris has been very dominant so far in the tournament. Drengr, unfortunately, unable to take a win thus far. Once again, a very stacked opponent for the brand new team, the Drengr. Ursae Majoris been a strong California team for many seasons now, taking on the brand new Drengr. Unfortunately, due to a camera glitch, we did miss the very first point by Ursae Majoris. That scorecard is actually correct. It is 1-0 as the teams begin to move in and duel each other. Good flank play there by the Drengr. An amazing jump. It is going to get tagged, just barely not able to come in and stop the play. So that will be 2-0 Ursae Majoris to open this game up against the Drengr. Whew, man. Interesting and tense action already. Unfortunate that we missed that very first point, but that means it's going to be an early set point for Ursae Majoris, 2-0 against the Drengr. This time around, Ursae Majoris on your left-hand side, Drengr on the right. Just want to make sure that I avoid any confusion there as far as those teams are concerned. Ready call is going to go out, and both teams rush in a very fast play from Majoris to get the flick and get the skull early on. They're going to get into possession, a bit of an overextension there by the Drengr. Unfortunately, double teamed and taken down. They attempt to back up the line, but it's not going to be good enough. Every single one of them taken down, and I stand corrected. Drengr coming in on the flank, going to continue to extend the play, as unfortunately Ursae Majoris doesn't get pins, and the entire line is beginning to collapse. Can they stop it? Honeypotting over the goal, going to force the Ursae Majoris quick to run back, but he's so fast they cannot take him down and force him to ice the skull. Pins are going to come out on both sides, and there it is, once again, honeypotting into the goal, taken down, still forcing action to continue. Icing is going to happen from the Drengr, as everyone is unfortunately taken down, and Ursae Majoris once again secure control of the skull. They're going to try and bat it into position, but the fight is still happening off screen. Ursae Majoris finally going to pick it back up into possession. Once again, contesting around the goal is Ursae Majoris. Unfortunate there, gets tagged. The sword and board player will go down, and Ursae Majoris will secure set number 1. That is probably the best play we have seen out of the Drengr so far this tournament. They were able to collapse their line back exactly as they needed to, bought enough time for their members to get back up, and very heavily delayed that point against one of the strongest teams in the game. Ursae Majoris, on the other hand, really used their athleticism to their peak, keeping skull possession as long as physically possible and maneuvering very well on the field for the entirety of that play. Switching sides, so the scoreboards will now match the direction that the players are in. Extended engagement along the line, a double there in the center, and most of the center line has collapsed. A flank there from Dragon is going to open up the line, but no one is watching the Quick, so the Quick is totally unescorted. As one of the players moves down, attempting to get possession, it is stripped away! The skull is taken by Ursae Majoris, and they are running straight for the goal! Defensive line from the Drengr is going to stop them from getting scored, but athleticism wins out in the end again as Ursae Majoris continues to maintain possession, and this time they're going to escort it in, and Ursae Majoris will get the first point of the set! I cannot believe how incredibly close that point was. Drengr unable to walk up with their enforcers. They even had enforcers up and available to move in, but the quick wrestle wins out in the end for Ursae Majoris. The skull is stripped away, and they use their advantage on the line to move in and secure point number 1. Beautiful play from Ursae Majoris. They are really showing themselves as the top team here. Taking a moment to catch my breath as both teams move in. Beautiful diving shot there from the center line of Ursae Majoris is going to take down 3, and they are going to, easy line collapse this time around. What turned into very, very contested points a couple times around. This time Ursae is going to take that one nice and easy. Long is not particularly used in the meta very often here in Colorado, but Jordan there on the Ursae Majoris doing a really, really great job of capitalizing on its reach, especially extending your body out into those long diving shots. Does a great job securing the center line, and this will be match point for Ursae Majoris. Drengr putting up a solid effort and a solid fight in this game, but still unable to put a single point on the board. Ursae looking for the shutout here in our final game of the day. Both teams run into the line. This time, Drengr will get the flick back. They do have skull possession as they all form in as a line together. Dragon, unfortunately, goes down, as does Seabass on the other side. Skull is iced out of the way as they all move out into position. Pins do go down this time from Ursae. They're doing the best not to make the same mistake as last time, but quick drops from the side of Dragon as he moves on, jumping over a Pomfin and taking down another one on the side of Ursae Majoris. This time around, Drengr in good position as they secure pins on their side of the field. They now have possession of the skull, not able to quite secure things as they move in, trying to do their best to keep that possession, and it's not going to happen. We have some contention around the goal, and it looks like a flag will go down. This is right around the goal. We're going to have to take a look and see who got hit where on that one. Drengr will put it into the goal, but that flag going down, immediately having a conversation with the refs. I think Dragon might have actually been tagged in the foot there on the side of the Drengr, which means he would have gone down. That would be play affecting. So we're going to have the refs come in, and there we go. It will be a redo point. Drengr finally able to get themselves on the board, but not quite clean enough for it to count. That means Ursae Majoris still in position to shut this one down 6-0. And here we go, the final lineup. Wow, an incredible breakthrough on the middle side there from the Drengr, who immediately get collapsed upon 2v1, running backwards and getting pins near the Quick, doing a good job of securing exactly where they need to be. Everyone's going to rush up Quick versus Quick. We might have a bit of a scuffle, but really good job there from Ursae Majoris to cross back by an Enforcer, and it's going to be a free walk in, or as best as it can be. And there it is. Game will go to Ursae Majoris. Well fought from both teams, but really wonderful tactics from Ursae. They earn themselves another victory today. Great work on their end. Ursae Majoris really showing precisely why they are one of the top teams in the country. Their athleticism stood out heavily in every single play, and their Quick's game sense and Enforcer's technical ability really shined during this one. Whether they needed to outmaneuver, out-pursuit, or whether they got an entire ace, they were able to constantly capitalize on the other team, earning themselves a 6-0 victory over the Drengr. Thank you all very much for watching all 4 of these wonderful games today. We're going to be back once again with some more of Day 1's seeding here at the Mile High Open. If you like what you see, hit that button, subscribe, and I will see you next time at the Colorado Jugger League's Mile High Open 2021.